Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to get started in about 1 minute. Welcome to everyone that has joined us.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Natalie.
Hello, we're happy to have everyone here.
Hello.
Well, it is right at
Hello.
12 o'clock, and we are so excited. My name is Natalie Lewis, and I'm COO at KC Scholars. And on behalf of our amazing organization and our CEO, Earl Martin Phelan, we'd like to say welcome. You have officially joined us for our sharing of our year 6 evaluation. We can't believe it's been 6 years already, but because we are in an organization and our philosophy really is about KC Scholars being a community asset. One of the things that we do each year is that we are transparent with our evaluation findings. We feel like that is a critical piece to us getting better and our fulfilling one of our core values of continuous improvement. So what we're here to do is share with our stakeholders and partners and share with you not only the exciting success that we've had, but our evaluation results. One of the things that we do know is that we are blessed to have a community that is invested in the success of not only our organization, but the success of our scholars. So that is one thing and reason why we are here today. And it's really through sharing those results, and we desire your feedback. You will have opportunity to share your feedback as the presentation is going on. And so I want to, before I get too far into the logistics and anything else, I want to take advantage of an opportunity. We have on the next slide, number 1, we're going to ask that you go ahead and scan this QR code in order to register your attendance. So we'll know that you're here. We'll make sure that we have the proper information to connect with you to share the presentation today, share any follow-up information that we want to share with you. But one of the things I want to pause and do, I am so excited that we have joining with us our CEO, Earl Martin Phelan. So I really want to turn it over to Earl in order for him to share some thoughts and words with you. There is nothing like hearing, I get chills every time I hear him talk about our vision and our organization. So I want to turn it over to Earl Martin.
Well, thanks, Natalie, and welcome everybody. I hope you're having a blessed and beautiful day today. Just wanted to welcome you first and foremost to continue the tradition Beth had started with you as community partners, breathing life into KC Scholars, which everybody knows is an outgrowth of the vision of Mr. Kaufman when he went to Westport High School and said finances will be no obstacle as long as you stay on the right track, as long as you keep working hard academically, and as long as you are kind towards others, I'll take care of your finances. And that was 1988, and that evolved over time into the Kaufman Scholars Program, and then the third iteration is KC Scholars. And we thank all of you who were there from the very beginning to help bring Mr. Kaufman's vision to life, and to equally significantly help our young people understand that if they apply themselves, kind of the world is their oyster. What's new at Scholars? A lot of wonderful things. This year, last year, we were able to reward a record number of scholarships. We awarded $50,000 scholarships to 775 young adults, and we're just so proud of the fact that we're able to serve more and more scholars every year. That's the first time we've been able to provide 775 scholarships, and we're hopeful and prayerful that we'll be able to continue to meet the demand for resources to go to college. The team will share some of the evaluation outcomes of what we're seeing from our first class of scholars that are just actually now at the graduation time. So I won't spoil that highlight, but they'll share that piece as well. We are continuing to grow our capacity here, because the coach, or the scholar advocate, as we call them, is one of the most important parts of walking next to our scholars as they make their journey to and through college and into great jobs. So we're continuing to build our capacity in that regard. The other piece that we're also have done is we looked at our adult scholarship. So we have three scholarship programs: a ninth grade program that's a matching program to get parents and scholars to start to save, even if it's $5, $10 a month. The second program is what we call our traditional scholarship program, $50,000 scholarships to those who are going on to seek a degree. And previously, we had an adult scholarship that was for 24 years and older, and it was 20 up to $25,000. Last year, we changed that program, reduced the age to 18 and older, and we doubled the amount of the scholarship. So the traditional scholarship, the adult scholarship, are essentially the exact same, up to $50,000 at this or at this time. And we're very excited about that, and we've actually seen an increase in adults who are applying because of the change in age and because of the increased resources that are being provided to those who go to our 19 post-secondary network partners. The other thing we did is we listened to our community. And I would describe our community as twofold. One is adults who want to get a pathway to a better job that allows them to have more resources to take care of themselves and their loved ones. And the second is the business community. And in listening to both, our adults who are saying, gosh, I wish there was a shorter way. Our average adult previously was 36 years old, two-thirds female, two children, two jobs. And then you add on top of that trying to get a degree. That's a hard journey for some people. And so many of our adults said, gosh, I wish there was a shorter term pathway for me to get a credential or get some type of training that will lead to a better job. And our business community was saying, gosh, I have hundreds of job openings. Some of our health systems have thousands of positions open that they're trying to fill with talent. And we said, what if we could create a program that bridged that gap? And that's what we are doing with our program called Great Jobs KC, which is we're honoring the fact that some people want a shorter pathway. We're honoring the fact that historically here in Kansas, in Metro KC, our 22,000 high school seniors, 50-50 is the rule. 50% are choosing to go to college, but 50% are wanting to get into a job that will allow them to take care of their families or to contribute to their families and take care of themselves. So you'll hear about Great Jobs KC as well. Again, short-term pathway. We do professional skills training for 1 month, time management, resume writing, resolving workplace conflicts, dressing for success. We go through the 1 month workshop, and then we have incredible training partners all the way from the community college system to independent training partners who then help scholars in the four verticals that Casey Rising and the chamber identified, which were IT, healthcare, manufacturing, and construction. And we have about 112 different credentials that you can get under those four verticals and more. And all of them need to lead to great jobs, which we right now are defining as $45,000 to $85,000 per year, plus benefits. Mr. Kaufman was known as saying the greatest social program in the world, the greatest thing you can do for the community is to help adults secure good paying jobs that have benefits for themselves and their families. And that's what we're trying to do through both of our programs. Whether you seek a degree or whether you seek a credential, we're trying to make sure that leads to a desire to stay here in this incredible city, and then B, a great job that allows you to take care of your family and your loved ones. We're blessed to have several thousand on the degree track. We're now, for the first time, we just now have 3,000 adults who are in our Great Jobs program. And some people may say, oh gosh, is it about the numbers? It's not about the numbers. It's about the fact that here in Metro KC, there are 670,000 adults who are struggling to make ends meet. So they either working poor or they are poor, and they're struggling to make ends meet. And if their tire goes out and their car, if they have a car, they're going to be faced with a tough decision. Do I pay my rent or do I get my car fixed? So we look at those 667,000 adults and want to do everything we can to help them have a pathway and have a life that they desire and deserve. So it's great to be here with you, and I'm going to turn it back to Natalie. Welcome, and we look forward to continuing to work in service with you. Take care.
Thank you so much, Earl Martin Phelan. I don't think my smile can get any bigger. I never ever get tired of hearing where we are going with this organization and the privilege that we have of serving and helping so many families into family sustaining jobs. I want to pause also in the next line and show you our board of directors. This is our leadership team and also our Great Jobs KC leadership team. I want to say welcome to any of our board of directors that have joined us today. And thank you, thank you, thank you for your service and for your guidance and for constantly sharing your brilliance in navigating and helping us to make this organization better and better and better. Next, I want to move to a few logistics. One of the things that I will share with you before I get into a little bit of overview about the program, and Earl has already shared quite a bit about our program, is that I do want to say that we're going to send out the slides and we're going to send out the everything to you. I'm a note taker, so I want to make sure that you know that. Also, this is intended to be an interactive presentation. So I want you all to be able to use your question and answer. That you should have a Q&A tab in Zoom that you can submit any questions to us. So I also want to pause, let you find that. Make sure you can find it. We'll know that by you going ahead and typing in your name and your organization and your connection to KC Scholars. So let's make sure you can find that, find your Q&A. I don't think we enable chat, so I want you all to find Q&A. One person found it, Brenda. Go ahead, everyone find, let's make sure you are able to find it because we really do intend for this to be interactive and you may not be able to unmute because the sheer number of people on the call. I think we may have set it up that way, but we do want to make sure that you are interactive. Okay, I see them coming in. We have a lot of people on the call, so just go ahead and find your chat button. While you're doing that, I am going to share a couple of other things with you. We will also send you the recording of today's session. Also, as I said, this is year 6 for us. So if you ever are curious and want to see our evaluations for year 1 through 5, those are available on our website, and we will be adding this 6-year evaluation to the website as well. So Earl has really share with you, I want to share with you kind of a big picture of KC Scholars, and then I'm going to turn it over to Laura to share the exciting information that we have all come to see. Earl gave a great overview of our programming, our scholarship components. These are the original 3 scholarship components that we started the organization with and that we're going to share some insight on today. One of the things that we will share with you is that over the years, 77% of our students that we have awarded, and we've awarded over 6,000. 77% are first generation, 81% students of color. One of the most amazing things that I feel about our organization is that we reach into a family and we will help support multiple generations within a family. So we have over 448, and I really think the number is higher than that now, of multiple family people within one family receiving a KC Scholar Scholarship. We have as many, I know one family that I love to talk about. We have a mother, we have the daughter, and we have the grandmother, all completing their degrees from scholarships that they've received from our organization. So that's exciting when we think about truly impacting the potential economic power of a family when you're able to help multiple generations. On the next slide, you'll see one of the things that I also wanted to pause and tell you, and you'll see this Great Jobs KC. I'll tell you in a second what all of that is about if you have not heard the news. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about, we're looking at deepening our impact. One of our top priorities is to make our current scholarship program and our short-term credentialing program better and better and better. one thing that we used to talk about was we wanted to help students get into college, and we wanted 80% of them to get through college. But one of the things, if we look now, we've now start talking about more and more, we want them not only to get through college, because we learned from previous programs, they've gotten those degrees, but it hadn't yielded them and gotten them into family sustaining jobs. So that's a top priority of ours now. But one last element is that we don't want our scholars just getting jobs. We want them thriving. We want them to be voters, homeowners, community engagements. So those are all the components that we're going back and layering into our program and our offering, and our scholar advocates working with our scholars, and us partnering with our K-12 partners, our post-secondary network partners. We are really looking at how do we take our scholars and help them to be all those things that our community needs them to be. Some other exciting news: since our inception, we've always had 17 amazing network partners that have been a part of the success of our organization, and we would not be the same type of organization without them. I'm happy to announce we have 2 brand new partners: Northwest Missouri State University, University of St. Mary University, and they came on board like a few of our other our post-secondary network partners. You all, as you heard, Earl said we were able to award a record number of scholarships last year. It's only through the investment of some of our university partners investing above and beyond in order to enable us to award these additional scholarships. And so we are thankful to those university partners, and Northwest Missouri State University and University of St. Mary's certainly came on with some additional amazing investment to enable us to do that. I also don't want to leave us without just talking about graduation. So today we've had 721 degrees. Some of our scholars earn multiple degrees. They earn associates and a bachelor's, but I'm just excited about that. And you see some of the other data and numbers on this slide. I won't read it to you, but I will read that bottom part. You all, when you think about in 2017, that was our first cohort, and that was our first cohort that now has completed their 5 years. The population that we are privileged to serve on a national level tends to have about a 24% graduation rate. Our amazing scholars, 69% graduated. That's unheard of. And we are on track. They have up to 6 years to use their scholarship. We will exceed 70% with this class, and 2018 is on track for that same accomplishment. This would not have been done without the programming and the infrastructure that our previous CEO set up, the hard work of our staff. So that is a huge celebration on being able to take students and helping them to achieve that amazing graduation rate. I will then quickly just share with you, because as we grow, we adapt. Earl shared with you how we've listened and how our North Star is to help over 50,000 families get into great family sustaining jobs over the next 10 years. Because of that, we have officially changed the name of our umbrella organization to Great Jobs KC. And you're going to see more and more. If you haven't already seen the commercials, you will hear about Great Jobs KC. So when you see it, that's what it is. It's our name of our new organization. But the next slide will really show you that we will still, KC Scholars will still be the name of our scholarship program. It's what our community knows. It's what we are grown accustomed to use. So KC Scholars will be the name of our scholarship program, and Great Jobs KC will be name of the short-term pathway programs, the tuition-free job training programs. I guess that's all a mouthful because I'm struggling saying it. But I just wanted to kind of let you know, as you start to hear about our new branding portfolio, that's what's going on. So without further ado, I will turn it over to the amazing Laura Schneider. She will introduce herself, so I won't steal too much of her thunder, and she will take us through our findings.
Hello, everyone. As Natalie said, my name is Laura Schneider. I am the Director of Research and Evaluation here at Great Jobs KC. and I am here to talk to you about our evaluation findings today. So I wanted to go over basically two overarching questions that we aimed to answer throughout the evaluation. The first is, what are the demographics of students who both applied to and were accepted by our program over the past 6 years? And the second was to ask ourselves, to what extent has our program applicant and awardee pools changed over time? To give you a little bit of background information about the evaluation, we've worked with two really wonderful third parties in the past to complete the evaluations. The first was the Upjohn Institute. So they did an evaluation for us in 2017, 2018, and 2019. We used West Ed to complete the 2020 and 2021 evaluations. And we have spent the past year building out a data team in-house. So our data team was able to fulfill that this year, which is exciting. But we did want to honor the great work that both West Ed and the Upjohn Institute have done previously. So we tried to stay as closely to those evaluations this year as possible. This first slide shows just applicant and awardee numbers from 2017 to 2022. We've had over 11,000 applicants total throughout the three categories of scholarships. And we've awarded, like Natalie and Earl said, over 6,000 people. The evaluation is split up into three big sections. So we'll go section by section because it is a lot of information. The first section discusses trends in all three scholarship types throughout those 6 years. So we'll get into that. This is what the application and awardee pool looked like in 2022. So total, we had 1,737 applicants and we awarded 1,026 students, meaning that we awarded 59.1% of everyone who applied. We wanted to look at trends in county of residence as well. Most applicants and awardees across all three scholarship types resided in Jackson County. If you look at population estimates and population density, that makes sense. Jackson County has the most out of the 6 counties that we serve. But more specifically, traditional scholars, about 41% or more have resided in Jackson County across all 6 years. And those counties of residence have varied less than 5% over time. In our college savings match program, 44% or more have resided in Jackson County over the 6 years. And applications have increased in Clay County while decreasing in Johnson County, Wyandotte County, and Platte County. In our adult learner program, 53% or more have resided in Jackson County over time. We've seen a slight increase in application and awards in Cass County and Johnson County. We've seen a slight decrease in applications and awards in Clay County and Jackson County. And we've seen both increases and decreases in Platte County and Wyandotte County. So looking at gender, academic performance, and employment status now across all three, at least 64% of our applicants and 66% of awardees across all three scholarship types have identified as female. At least half of our college savings match and traditional scholarship applicants and awardees have had a GPA over 3.0, so they are pretty high achievers. On average, 39% of our adult learner applicants and awardees have had a GPA below 2.5, and about 52% of traditional scholarship awardees and 75% of our adult learner awardees were employed at the time of their application. We also wanted to look at race and ethnicity throughout the year. So in our traditional and college savings match cohorts, most have identified as Hispanic Latino, Black African American, or white non-Hispanic or non-Latino. In college savings match awardees, we've seen a decrease in those who identify as Black or African American, or white and non-Hispanic, non-Latino, while those who identify as Hispanic or Latino or Asian have increased in that cohort. And our traditional scholarship awardees have we've seen a decrease in those who identify as white or non-Hispanic, non-Latino over time, while those who identify as Hispanic or Latino have increased. And approximately half, so about 54% or more across time of our adult learners applicants and awardees have identified as Black or African American. So if you look at trends in family income and education level, we have seen that all applicants and awardees in all of our program components demonstrate high financial need. And it is the mission of the organization to capture first generation low to modest income students. So this makes sense. Our mean EFC, and by EFC I mean estimated family contribution, was less than 3,000 for all 3 scholarship components. All of our awardees have had lower EFCs than our applicants. And in our college savings match and traditional cohorts, the applicants and awardees had higher free and reduced lunch eligibility than regional averages. We'll talk a little bit more about that in the second section. And approximately 70% of all of our awardees are first generation students, and that is higher comparable to the 6 counties that we serve. I know that was a lot of information thrown at you. I want to give time to you to ask questions or provide thoughts and feedback about all of that. So I will give you a minute to pop all of that into the question and answer section of Zoom. So again, if you can find that down there on the bar, that would be great. And then we'll have one of our staff members throw those out so that we can answer that.
And while you're adding your questions, I failed to say, as Laura is going through her slides in the next sessions, feel free to go ahead and add them as you have the questions, if they pop in your head as she's covering the different information. I'm sorry, Laura, I forgot to say that.
Thank you.
One question that came into the chat, Natalie, was, do you help people with disabilities?
So we work very closely. It depends on the disability, but yes, we work with scholars and students. We also work with our university partners to identify those resources or accommodations that students may need. And we try to help those students, especially coming out of high school, make the right fit university depending on what those disabilities are. Another exciting thing that we realize, and we're going to start doing more and more as we talk to some of our university partners, is that sometimes parents don't even know that there are certain things available on a university campus. They don't even know things like if there's even an IEP that a student had in high school, that it's very important that we work as we transition into college. So those college and university partners are also willing to help meet students where they are. So a very long way to say yes.
Natalie, we also have a question relating if we assist with individuals becoming business owners.
That's a very interesting question. It depends on what you mean by assisting. Of course, with our degree-seeking students, there's always them getting degrees and making sure they're selecting careers aligned with that. But one of the things that we are looking at doing is really looking at the true entrepreneur for those students that don't want to get a job and want to become business owners. So we're really looking at building out that program more and more and more.
And it looks like the final question for this section is this just for adults, or what other populations does this program serve?
So our program is for students starting as young as 9th grade with our college savings match. We also start talking in high school, of course, to our students that want to go to college, but also that the college is not for them. And so, no, it's not just for adults. We work very closely with our K-12 partners to support students while they're in high school. And then, of course, we have amazing program, degree seeking or short-term pathway for adults.
And I spoke too soon. We have several other questions. I apologize.
Okay.
Can you restate how you're trending with admitting males to KC Scholars?
Yes, so most of our applicants have been female. You will see the male-female binary throughout this presentation. We ask it that way in the 2022 application. We've since changed that to be more inclusive moving forward. But basically, we've had around 64% of applicants and 66% of awardees identify as female. So if you do the math the other way, about 34% of applicants and then or sorry, 36% of applicants, 34% of awardees have identified as male.
All right, and I will type some answers to the following questions in the chat as we move forward.
Okay.
Thank you.
And we will add a little bit time at the very end for additional questions.
All right, so section 2 of our evaluation covered demographics of our applicants and awardees. So we'll get into those. For the traditional scholars, we looked specifically at county of residence, race and ethnicity, gender identity, free and reduced lunch eligibility, and first generation student population. So we'll go through each of those. Like I said, most of our scholarship applicants and awardees resided in Jackson County over time, or in 2022, I'm sorry. Like I said, if you're looking at population estimates and population density, that makes sense. You can see the rest of the breakdown here. I won't read all of that to you, but I will point out that we do have another category. We do have some scholars who live outside of the 6 counties that we serve, but attend schools within the 6 counties that we serve. So they are still eligible for scholarships. And so that's why we have that other category there. If we're looking at race and ethnicity across our high school population and then looking at general population in the Kansas City area, you'll see that we have really high proportions of students who are racially and ethnically diverse. For example, we have about 38% of awardees and almost 35% of applicants within that 2022 cycle that identified as being Hispanic or Latino. And that's compared to about 17.5% in the public high schools within the counties that we serve. It also looks relatively the same for students who identify as Black or African American. So 24.8% of our awardees and 25.2% of all of our applicants in the traditional scholars cohort for 2022 identified as Black or African American, as opposed to about 15.9% of the general population. So again, we are getting higher proportions of students who are racially and ethnically diverse. We're looking at gender identity now in the 2022 award cycle, and again, looking at that versus the general population of our public high schools in Kansas City. We do have more that identify as female, and we do have higher proportions of females, both applicants and awardees compared to the general population. Like I said, this does look at the male-female binary. This will change in future evaluations, but in 2022, this is how that question on the application was phrased. So if we look at free and reduced lunch eligibility across Kansas City versus what we saw in our 2022 award cycle, we also have a high proportion of traditional applicants and awardees who were eligible for free and reduced lunch. So as you can see, about 76.4% of our awardees and 70.6% of all applicants were eligible for free and reduced lunch. And that's compared to 34.9% of the high school population in Kansas City. So that's pretty high. Looking at first generation student status, we also have a high proportion of students who identify as first generation students compared to general populations in Kansas City. You can see that there too. But again, the mission of our organization is to capture first generation low to modest income students. So it looks like we're trending in the right direction in capturing those students. We'll move on to the adult learners now. So the demographics that we looked at for adult learners in the 2022 award cycle for county of residence, race and ethnicity, gender identity, and first generation student population. So if we're looking at the county of residence, again, most reside in Jackson County, Missouri. Again, that is normal. We would expect to see that. You can see the breakdown here. I do want to point out that there is an unknown column for adult learners. In the 2022 cycle, we have a subset of students called Kaufman Pathfinders. They are a group of students that came from a program called Kaufman Scholars. In 2022, they did not go through the normal KC Scholars application cycle, so we are missing some demographics for those students. But since they were awarded a scholarship, we wanted to include them in the evaluation. So you'll just see unknown where we don't have those demographics available. I will also point out that, in case you didn't catch it earlier, every adult learner that applied for a scholarship was given a scholarship. So we've combined awardees and applicants into one column throughout this presentation just for ease. So you'll only see awardees. It's because we gave scholarships to everyone who applied. So looking at race and ethnicity for the 2022 award cycle for adult learners, about half of them identified as being Black or African American. And we're comparing them against general populations in the KC service area. So this is coming from Census Bureau data. So while 53.7% of our applicants and awardees identified as Black and African American, about 13.7% of the general population did as well. So we are seeing very high proportions of students who identify as Black and African American. If we look at gender identity for adult learners in the 2022 cycle, most identified as female again. And looking against the general population of Kansas City, we are getting a higher proportion of female students in the program. And then looking at first generation student status, again, most of our students are identifying as first generation students, particularly compared against general populations in the Kansas City area. So we've made it to the college savings match applicants and awardee demographics. For this cohort, the 2022 cohort, we looked at county of residence, race and ethnicity, free and reduced lunch eligibility, first generation student population, and free and reduced lunch eligibility. So I'll go through each of these. So again, a high proportion of college savings match students reside in Jackson County, Missouri. Much like the traditional students, you will see the other county or other category here for counties. We did have one of them who resided outside of the 6 counties that we serve, but attended one of the schools within our 6 counties. So you'll see that. And again, like I said, about 44% of awardees, 44.5% of all applicants reside in Jackson County. And you can see the other breakdowns here. Looking at race and ethnicity, we do have racially and ethnically diverse college savings match students in 2022. So about 22.4% of awardees and 23% of all applicants identified as Black or African American, compared to about 15.9% of comparable population in Kansas City. And about 39.6% of awardees and 37.9% of all applicants identified as Hispanic or Latino, compared to 17.5% of general population. Looking at gender identity, again, most of these students are also identifying as female, and it does look like we have a high proportion of female students compared to general population. And then looking at free and reduced lunch eligibility, in the 2022 award cycle, a lot of our students identify as, are eligible for free and reduced lunch. So 74% of applicants, awardees, and 72.9% of all applicants were eligible for free and reduced lunch, compared to almost 35% of the general population. And then looking at first generation student status, again, most of these students are identifying as first generation students, and we are getting a high proportion of first generation students compared to general populations in Kansas City. I will give you another opportunity to pause for questions, thoughts, feedback. So add those to the Q&A if you have them, and I will give you just a minute to do that.
As we wait for that, Laura, we have a couple more questions that have been added to the Q&A. The first one is a scholar support question, Natalie. Do you track whether students with difficulties in transportation, do you track whether students have difficulties with transportation to and from class? and what type of resources are available?
And I noticed, yes, I noticed that's a great question from Greg. We don't really track it at a level that I would like us to track it moving forward. I would like us to track it at a level that we are able to just talk from a systemic level of standpoint, what percentage of typical transportation, what percentage of students is transportation a barrier, so we can start influencing the bigger conversation. We do, however, make our students aware of that we have now a wraparound service department. We call it student support services here within our organization. And the whole point of that whole team is to make sure that if transportation is a barrier to and from class, to and from events, like where is it getting in the way? We do offer services and gas cards or support with transportation. And you're right, it is a huge concern, and we're going to get our minds around it more and more and more. Because also, as we look at, we stay tethered to our students even 1 year into job placement. And so we also know for those instances, transportation may be a problem. And also, as we work to get more and more of our students involved in amazing internship programs, we even want to make sure that transportation is not a barrier, even in those instances.
Are there any other questions or thoughts or feedback?
At this point, I think we can move forward, Laura, and I'll continue to monitor.
Sounds good. So section 3, the final section of our evaluation, covered the demographics of KC traditional students. Wested did a really great evaluation piece last year where they looked at the characteristics of students or schools where we had awardees enrolled in versus schools where we did not have awardees enrolled. So we wanted to do that again for the 2022 cycle. You can see here that if we're looking at awardee schools, about 72% of the population within awardee schools 72% of our awardee schools were eligible for Title I funds. That's compared against 15.2 of our non-awardee schools. So it's quite a big difference, about 56.8% in that eligibility. Students eligible for free and reduced lunch made up about 36.3% of average enrollments at our awardee schools, compared to 15.4% of average enrollments at non-awardee schools. And then we looked at student-to-teacher ratio too. The student-to-teacher ratio at our awardee schools was 16:1, and that looks at 11:1 at our non-awardee schools. So that's a pretty big difference as well. Looking at again, gender, you can see there's really not a big difference between awardee schools and non-awardee schools in terms of the proportion of gender, which was an interesting find. And then if we look at race and ethnicity, you can see that there are a few differences between the proportions enrolled in those schools. So about 16.6% of our awardee schools had about 16.6% of a population that identified as Black, compared to only 7.5% of our non-awardee schools, and an 18.1% of the population that identified as Hispanic or Latino versus 9.3% of our non-awardee schools. We also looked at race and ethnicity and gender. You can see that here. Again, it's a similar breakdown. So our awardee schools tend to have slightly higher proportions of female and males that identify as Black or African American or Hispanic or Latino. We also looked at FAFSA submissions in our awardee schools, and then looked at that against what non-awardee schools had. So you can see year by year, mean FAFSA submissions and mean FAFSA completions. When we say FAFSA submissions, we mean that the application itself was submitted to federal student aid. Completions would be, it was completed, had correct information, was accepted by federal student aid. So in this past academic year, the most recent 2021 to 2022, our awardee schools had a mean submission of 132 FAFSAs, and then mean completion was 125. And you can see over time, both of those have decreased. We also looked at FAFSA submissions and completions at awardee schools versus non-awardee schools. You'll see the number of awardee schools is a little bit different here than it has been for other characteristics that we looked at, but those are the awardee schools that we had available in the FAFSA database or the Federal Student Aid database. So if you look at the number of mean submissions for our awardee schools, they're almost double what our non-awardee schools are reporting. So 129 mean submissions across our awardee schools in 2022 versus 50 for non-awardee, and then 121 mean completions, meaning again, those applications were complete with the right information and accepted by Federal Student Aid for awardee schools, and then 47 for non-awardee schools. Again, we want to pause for questions and thoughts and feedback because it's a lot of information to take in. So go ahead if you have any thoughts or questions, pop those into the Q&A.
Not any additional questions at this time.
Thank you, Tom. That is the end of our presentation. We do have a QR code. We ask that you scan it. It will lead to a survey that we have about today's presentation. So if you could take a couple of minutes to do that, we would be most appreciative. But we also will use the time if you have any other questions or comments or feedback for us regarding either the evaluation or the program in general. We do have about 15 minutes left, so we definitely have time for that if you have more questions.
And Laura, I have a
Question.
couple announcements after. I have a couple of announcements after you're done with that question, Tom.
Right, a couple questions have come in. Help with home ownership was mentioned. Can you share additional information on what that includes?
Really, we're just getting to figure out what that means. What we want to do is, it really is a part of financial literacy, building that into everything we do with our scholars, helping them understand what it takes, and then also starting to identify resources that would be available. We have some amazing corporate partners, some amazing community partners already that we've started to identify that is also committed to. It's really around housing security and how do we remove that. Just like Greg had that great question about transportation, we also know that housing and housing security is also a barrier that gets in the way. So it's just going to build on that, but we're still building out those programs. But we do also, as far as home ownership and housing insecurities, I will say, we, as part of our scholar wraparound services and student support services, we build those resources and community partner resources that we can connect scholars to when it does become a barrier.
An additional question. I'd like to know if there is the schedule for awards in the spring.
Oh, that was my announcement. Okay. I gotta calm down. Number one, we just stay tuned, you all. That's all I can say. Stay tuned. Get on our newsletter list. We will add you all on that now, but just stay tuned. We have exciting announcements coming up. Also, our adult learner application cycle, that's for 18 and older, adults that have a GED. That cycle is opening November 14th, but you can go to our website. Please direct people to our website now, greatjobskc.org. kcscholars.org is still an active website, and they can go ahead. They don't have to wait until the application opens. They can go ahead and click Get Started, put in their information, and we will send them tips until the application open and then notify them when the application window opens. So for adult learners, that is November 14th through December 14th that application window will be opened. And then for our college savings match and our 11th grade traditional scholarship, that window will open January 9th through February 23rd. The Adult Learner Scholarship, we will be awarding those on February 29th. We had fun with leap year. So we will be awarding those then. And then our traditional scholarship and college savings match, we will be awarding them May 1st. And we will include this in your follow-up email, and it's also available on our websites.
Thank you, Natalie. That is all right. We had a question regarding, sorry, told to register for October. So I
What's
believe
the
that
question?
so there was a comment about registering in October. And I think I would like to share that. So the website that's been referenced in a couple of the answered questions will take it to an interest form that you can sign up for additional information about when the application periods open, with the adult learner opening on November 14th.
But one of the things I do want to make sure I tell this amazing group of community partners is for our Great Jobs KC short-term credentialing program, there is not an application cycle or window. That is year-round rolling admissions. So if you have someone, please, 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 if you have someone that a student or an adult that want to get a pathway to a great paying job, it's not required that college is required for that training. Please have them go out and also submit their information, and they can go ahead and submit their information to apply to that program now. And really for that program, all that's required for our short-term pathway training program, all that's required is that they live in our 6-county region and they make less than $45,000 a year. And when we talk about that $45,000 per year, that's for that individual. So if you have a partner, a couple, family, multiple people living in one household, that's not a household income, that's a per person. So please help us spread the word. Okay, any other questions, Tom? You've done a phenomenal job, Mr. Clark, by the way.
I'm going to respond to the next question about sharing the link again for where to sign up as a typed answer so everyone will see it. And I think that will be it.
Well, thank you so much to everyone for joining us. We are getting better and better and better. We are looking at how to leverage data even more. So stay tuned for hearing more about program impact. And please always reach out. If you have questions, we don't have to wait each year for you to join in. So any thoughts, any questions relative to what we're doing or the work that we're doing, we always welcome that from our community partners. Thank you so much.